Hello and welcome back to another Ashes of Creation video, where today we're diving into the 8 different classes in Ashes of Creation. We're going to go over the summary of each class and highlight a few of their unique skills, so let's jump right in. First, we have the Cleric, the primary healer archetype. Clerics protect and heal their allies, and they can resurrect the fallen as well. Their powers come from manipulating the essence, which allows them to mend life threads and wield destructive force against their enemies. Clerics can also provide offensive support, making them versatile in both group and solo play. So there's a couple key, cleric abilities. For example, we have Barrier, which sacrifices 25% of your max health to grant an ally temporary health. Blessed Weapon, which imbues the target's weapon with a radiant light, which causes additional damage and mana regen. Chains of Restraint, which would summon spectral chains to stagger and damage enemies, so a lot of different damage type spells. Then we have our more healing area spells like Divine Flare, where you place healing on the ground. Divine Light, heal an ally over time to prevent fatal damage. Resurrect, and more damage stuff like Smite. So, it's definitely going to be able to do DPS and healing. Now we have the Bard. Bards are non-healing support specialists who amplify the abilities of their party members through buffs. They enhance DPS, support, healing, and more by telling stories, performing dances, and singing songs. Bards are not just buff bots, but active participants in combat who can significantly boost the performance of their allies. Unfortunately, we don't have the specifics on exact ability names and what they do just yet. We will get that information at the end of this month when there's a dev update. Make sure to check out the video when I review that. But for now, some key Bard abilities that we're aware of include proximity-based buffs, which would enhance tanking, evasion, DPS, and healing abilities of allies within a certain range. We have skill shot buffs, which would be landing a skill shot, which would grant an ally a temporary buff. We have the musical instrument play, which you'll play instruments like flutes, bagpipes, drums, and fiddles to provide buffs to your teammates. And then combination melodies, so you'll do combos of dance, song, and story to create melodies that provide hard utility, support, and battle. Now let's talk about the Fighter. Fighters are highly mobile, physical DPS specialists excelling in close quarters combat. They use a momentum mechanic to enhance their resistances and mobility based on damage taken and dealt, making them relentless and difficult to escape from. Some notable fighter abilities include Battle Cry, which would apply a riled effect to allies and shaken to enemies. Blitz, which is a charge attack, which would charge you towards the target, dealing physical damage. Blood Fusion, which would return damage dealt as health and mana. Brutal Cleave, which would perform a sweeping attack that damages all enemies in front. Or mobility skills like Leap Strike, which would leap to a target location dealing damage and snaring them. And then like your classic Whirlwind, which would deal physical damage to all enemies around the caster while they're spinning. These are just some of the examples of skills they have. Next up we have the Mage. The Mage is all about harnessing elemental and non-elemental spells to create powerful synergies and combos. Mages can manipulate elements to their advantage, making them versatile and devastating in combat. They can focus on a single element or combine different elements for maximum effect. Some key Mage abilities include Arcane Circle, which places a rune of magic on the ground, granting arcane might. Arcane Empowerment, which increases your cast time and consumes spell charges for an extended duration. You have Blink, which would instantly teleport you 20 meters. Attacks like Chain Lightning, which would release a strike of lightning that can hit multiple enemies. Another example is Cone of Cold, which blasts a vortex of freezing wind, dealing ice damage. And other abilities like Fireball, which would hurl a ball of fire at target, dealing fire damage and implying burning. Things like Meteor, which you could conjure a flaming rock to hurl at the target location. Next up we got Ranger. The Rangers are the masters of ranged combat, using bows and other ranged weapons to strike from a distance. They excel in mobility, control, and dealing significant damage from afar. Rangers can also use traps and other tactical abilities to control the battlefield. So some notable Ranger abilities we have are Airstrike, which would allow you to leap forward and fire 3 projectiles, which roots the target's hit. Skills like Barrage, where you'll fire a continual barrage of arrows at your target. Bear Trap, where you place a trap that damages and roots enemies. Camouflage, which makes you harder to see and untargetable at a distance. Disengage, you're going to perform a quick kick and backflip, snaring enemies. Headshot, dealing significant physical damage to a target enemy. Raining Death, which is like rain of arrows type deal, where you fire a dense rain of arrows, dealing more damage to distant targets. And abilities like Snipe, which would charge a powerful ranged attack, dealing massive damage. This is personally what I'm going to play. I can't wait to play Ranger. Next up is Rogue. Rogue excels in stealth, precision, and physically disabling techniques. They can apply bleeds, snares, and deliver high burst damage through well-timed attacks. Rogues are also adept at navigating the dangers and discovering hidden doors, traps, treasures, making them valuable in dungeon exploration. Unfortunately, we don't have any confirmed skills for Rogue yet, but we do know the key ability will be Stealth. When it comes to Rogue, Stealth will give you the true stealth that's not proximity dependent. It'll allow you to move undetected by enemies. Hopefully we get to see a update for the Rogue soon and we get to see how it plays. Summoners are versatile, capable of shifting roles to fill gaps in a party's composition. They summon creatures to fight for them and can adapt to DPS, healing, or tanking roles based on their summons and secondary archetype. Unfortunately, we don't have any confirmed skills for the summoner, but we do have some information from Steven about how they'll play and their abilities. There'll be summoning, where your summoners can summon up to 3 creatures, with the abilities appearing on the hotbar. There'll be pain transfer abilities, which will allow you to transfer a portion of damage or threat to their summons. Siege summons, which during sieges, multiple summoners can collaborate and summon larger creatures, with the summoner becoming the summon. I mean, that's pretty awesome. Well, hopefully that ends up coming out into the game. That sounds really awesome. Now, last but not least, we have the tank. Tanks are frontline defenders, excelling in damage mitigation, threat management, and protecting their allies. They can control the battlefield and force opponents into tactical mistakes. Tanks are designed to be immovable objects against unstoppable forces, making them essential in both PvE and PvP settings. So we have key tank abilities would include Absorption Field, which creates a field of absorption to mitigate incoming damage. Skills like Aegis, which will create a protective dome that transfers damage to the tank. Ancestral Bolas, which throws a magical web of Bolas, hopefully I'm saying that correctly, that snares and generates threat. Grapple, which pulls a target to the caster with a hooked chain. Reflect, which would reflect the next incoming attack back to the attacker, and something like Slam, which would knock back the target, applying staggers, generating additional threat. And there you have it, quick overview of the 8 different classes in Ashes of Creation. What class are you most excited to play? Let me know down in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for more Ashes of Creation content. Check out my Twitch channel, as I'll be streaming live up until the Alpha 2 release and once the game drops as well. See you guys in the next video.